Hello and welcome to the Greg Fearon podcast with your host, Greg Fearon. And I think for the fourth time, Michelle Barnes is back to talk about building the ultimate body that you want. And yeah, give it to you real. Michelle, welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back.
It's great. It's like a four-peat. I'm going to call you like Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Let's keep them going. I like it. I love being a part of your podcast and just, chatting with you and connecting. It's always awesome and a good time.
That's why I always have you back, right? So yeah, I love it. Cool. So let's shoot, right? So I know that you've made some changes and you're full-time in with coaching now, pretty much, aren't you?
Yeah. So I officially retired this past August
Mhm.
from corporate America, and I worked in the same industry and for the same company for almost 24 years.
Mhm.
So I finally just retired and I get to live out my life's passion, which is coaching full time. I have been a coach for quite some time, um, legitimately for the last 2 years is where I actually built a true business around it.
Mhm.
And so now I get to just, you know, go head first into coaching full time. And it's quite the ride, I'll tell you, but well worth it.
I can imagine. So recently, because I know if people are watching this back, they need to go back and listen to the other three episodes, whatever it is. I'll put them in the notes so people can find them. But what's been coming up for you with clients of late, and how can you help the people listening to this podcast?
Yeah, so everyone wants instant results. And what they need to understand is that it takes time to build the physique of your dreams. And really, you should never get to the physique of your dreams, because if you do, then you stop working, right? Because you're not as motivated as you need to be and you don't really have a goal. So it's this never ending journey. And when you hear people say, "Oh, my fitness journey," well, the word journey is just what it is. It's a journey. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes dedication, focus, determination, like all those things. And people start a fitness journey, and when they start it, they think within 2 or 3 months time max that they should have this transformed physique, and they forget to realize that it didn't take them only 2 to 3 months to get where they are. And it's really frustrating from my point of view as a coach, because I recently did a post that I talked about how getting the physique of your dreams, it's not sexy. It's tedious, it's hard work. You have to show up every day even when you don't want to. You have to say no more than you say yes to things even when you don't want to. And eventually with time you'll get to where you want to be, but I mean it just takes time, man.
So what is it then about our own bodies that we don't want to put the work in, right? Because let's be honest, people will go to uni for 3 years and do a PhD and do a master's. But when it comes to working on our own bodies, people are like, oh, I can't do that. What is that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
You know what I think it is, to some degree. I think we're so hyper self-critical
Mm-hmm.
that we can't appreciate the little small changes and the small wins. So if you can't appreciate the small ones, you definitely won't appreciate the big ones. And when you can't appreciate those small little wins that you're having along the way, sometimes you lose your way and you get discouraged. It's easy to get discouraged, um, within a fitness journey. Like I said, there's no instant gratification, but we forget to embrace the small wins. Like, hey, I'm less bloated. I'm sleeping better. I have better energy. You may not look better in your swimming trunks or your bikini just yet, or how you think you should look, but you got to look at the bigger picture and embrace all the little small wins that really amount to something really big if you let them. But so many people throw in the towel before they can ever truly realize this wonderful masterpiece that they're building, you know, in their physique, that they never even get to see what it could have been.
I guess that's part of social media, though, especially. I won't blame all of social media, though, because this has been happening before Instagram. This is happening before Facebook. People thought that to get the body you want, you know, you just start on week 1, week 12, you're done.
Yeah, yeah. And I wouldn't blame social media either 100%, but it definitely has exacerbated the problem and made it worse, because you're looking at people's highlight reels and you're seeing like, oh my gosh, they started out super fluffy 12 weeks ago, and then 12 weeks forward, they're this shredded, muscular masterpiece of a machine. And that's not realistic, you know? And then most people, my ideal clientele, they're a little bit more mature, refined, you know, individuals, so a little bit older. And a lot of them have hormonal issues that they're fighting and trying to get regulated, and gut health issues. And just with those things right there, not that you still can't make progress, because you definitely can, but it just makes a tedious process even more so tedious. And it makes the results come even slower, and you have to deal with and try and resolve the underlying issues. And it's just you begin to spin your wheels a little bit, you know. And one thing that I've started to try and do better as a coach is setting the expectations a bit better for people, and letting them know, hey, this is going to be a very slow process. If you're expecting to look up 3 months from now and, you know, be a whole new you, like that sounds sexy and fun and amazing, but you're not. Chances are you're not. Like, everybody is uniquely different. We all have different genetics. Bodies respond differently at different times to different stimuluses. But so I can't tell them exactly what to expect, but I'm like, chances are, if I'm a betting person, I'm going to put my money on the fact that we're going to have made progress, but it's not going to be this ultimate crazy transformation that you see on social media. So
yeah, I think something you said there was about the highlight reels, because no one tells people about the blood, sweat, and tears in the gym.
No.
When you're training, when everyone's out partying,
Yeah.
that's when the magic happens, right?
Yeah. When it's a Friday night and people are at happy hour, and your happy hour is, you know, in the gym, lifting the weights, getting your cardio in, and then going home and eating a sensible, you know, nutrient dense dinner, and abstaining from the alcohol, the wine, you know, the celebratory drinks that everybody's passing around for a week's worth of work well done. I mean, those are the sacrifices.
See, that's an interesting one, I think, because the message has always been of late, and I think there's not enough nuance about it, right? So we know that you can eat all sorts of foods and still get in good condition. But like you say, things like there has to come a point people need to understand that maybe you can't drink that glass of wine that you had, that you want to have, and that you have every night.
Yeah.
Because, you know, people will say, oh, but Greg, everything in moderation. But I don't think anyone actually understands this moderation world. It's a bit of a myth word, I think.
Yeah. Like, you can still incorporate it and have it, but moderation for some, you know, if they're someone who drinks a couple of drinks a night, a couple of glasses of wine a night, or a glass of wine a night, for them, moderation then becomes, okay, well, instead of doing it 7 nights a week, I do it 5. Well, that's still significant, you know, and it's going to impede you from reaching your goal. So maybe we need to do a better job of defining what moderation means and looks like for each individual, But I know when I set up a client's plan for the first time, I always ask them, hey, if they're a drinker, I say, for the first 3 weeks, we're going to abstain from alcohol. We're not going to include it because I need to see what your body is actually doing with the plan that I've set up. And alcohol kind of camouflages things and you know, just kind of, yeah, messes it up a bit to where you can't truly see what's going on, you know? So I just make them pull it because it's that strong of a variable, or it can be.
Well, alcohol can literally stop fat loss there and then, right? It's a preferred fuel source. So take it
Oh
out.
yeah. And then your inhibition's lower. So then now where your mindset is like, you know what, I'm not going to eat the chips. I'm not going to eat this or that or have more drinks. All of a sudden your inhibitions go down and, oh, what's another glass of wine? Yeah, pass the dessert. I want that, you know, so your inhibitions go down, and it's just not a real good recipe for getting the results you want. And you have to at some point stop and say, okay, how important is it really to me to reach my goal or my goals? Like, and in order to reach a goal, there's sacrifices have to be made. It's like getting an education. You decide that you're going to go and pursue a particular degree. Well, guess what? You're going to have to make some sacrifices in order to earn it. No one's just going to come up and give it to you and say, oh, you know what? You look like a nice person, Greg. Here you go. This is for you. You don't even have to, you don't have to do the work. You know, you just look like you deserve it. No, it doesn't work that way. Anything worth having doesn't come easy. And if it does, buyer beware.
Yeah.
You have to do the work.
Amen.
Period.
Amen to that. Do you know, just say that again. Just say that again one more time.
Anything worth having doesn't come easy. Like you have to do the work. You have, like, even, I'm going to use this as a very extreme example. Even people who use performance enhancing drugs, steroids, they have to do the work. They would look like crap if they just took them and didn't do the work. There's no magic pill, no magic injection, no magic anything. Like, you have, no matter what it is, you have to do the work. There's no shortcuts. And if there were, you and I would be billionaires, because we would package it, put it in a bottle and sell it, and that would be it.
You just drink it, right? Like these ketones and shakes and
yep. And Oprah Winfrey would be our #1 customer. I'm just saying.
True story, true story. So, because you gave me a little list of things here that you wanted to talk about. So one of the ones I want to just talk about really is getting people to understand that there needs to be cycles in your training, cycles in your diet. As women have a menstrual cycle, for example, like you can't just calorie deficit all the time. You
cannot. And I have, even as a coach, I have personally struggled with the notion of this, and it's a very challenging notion. And that is, you can't always be super lean, be dieting in a deficit. There are different phases in trying to achieve your best physique. So in order to do that, there are times where you need to eat in a slight calorie surplus so that you can have the energy to push harder in the gym, to put on more lean muscle mass. And then, I mean, you don't want to get sloppy with it and just be like, oh, it's a reason to eat a bunch of junk food and say, oh, I'm bulking, bro. No. And I've done that. I've done that before, but it was really an excuse to just eat and just, you know, whatever. And that within itself was very challenging, because it's fun putting it on and hellacious taking it off. But if you do it responsibly and you do it under a coach like myself or you, Greg, I mean, we can walk people through the different steps of, okay, we're going to slowly reverse your calories up so that you put on the least amount of body fat possible. We're going to look at your biofeedback that you're giving to us weekly when you do your check-ins. We're going to look at your pictures, your measurements, see, just see how you're overall feeling, and I sometimes will have my clients check their blood glucose markers just to see how they're processing the carbohydrates and the increase in calories and that sort of thing, and just make sure that we're not pushing them too hard. And with it all does come a little bit of extra weight gain. You're holding a bit more water. You're definitely going to increase a bit of body fat, but in an effort to also increase more lean body mass. I'm currently going through this phase. Like sometimes I slip up and I say my off season because I compete, right?
Mhm.
But what I really mean to say, and what I've really been trying to be mindful of my verbiage, is it's my improvement season. It's my time. Oh, pardon me, my pup in the background.
That's all right.
Teddy, it's my time to really be comfortable. Hey, it's my time to really be comfortable with eating a tad bit more, holding a little bit more body fat than what I would like, and being okay with seeing the scale go up a bit and seeing measurements change, in a desirable as well as kind of a undesirable way. In the waist, if your waist expands, that's not really desirable. If you see your quads or maybe your arms expand a little bit and you feel like it's muscle, then that's maybe a little bit more desirable, right?
Mhm.
But so I'm in the process of doing that right now, and I definitely have my good and my bad days, and I have to talk myself off the ledge. And I also have a group of people around me that I reach out to when, I just feel kind of like, but it's a process.
Mhm.
It is a process.
And it's perfect you say that. I've got a couple of ladies right now, got them really lean, one of them at their best weight, and now I'm like, right, let's raise the calories.
Yeah, and that's a scary notion for a lot of people, especially women.
Yeah, definitely. But then now they're loving it because now they've got more energy and it's Christmas time, so it's perfect timing.
Yes.
So I'm like, go and eat some mince pies. It's okay. Like,
Yeah,
enjoy
it's
it.
okay. You just factor it into your macros or your nutrition, however you are approaching it. And it's okay. Like right now, I eat a lot of very nutrient dense foods, of course, but like yesterday, do you know what an apple fritter is? It's a donut.
A donut called an apple fritter. Okay.
Yeah, it's
But
called it's called an apple fritter, and it's basically a donut. I actually have one in the kitchen because I'm going to have it today, but I had it yesterday post workout, and I have the calories right now to be able to. Oh, he drives me so crazy, Teddy.
this is why I don't have pets.
Yeah, the pets. But it's a great time right now because I have the surplus in calories to be able to implement that and have it. And it's just really enjoyable,
And I think that's a really key one because you said enjoyable. Because this
Mhm.
process should be enjoyable. You're discovering what your body does and how it responds. And I think that's the biggest and best thing that you could ever do for yourself, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to embrace every phase and cycle of your journey, and you have to have fun with it. And you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing at the time that you're doing it. And I think that if you go about it in a very systematic and responsible type of way, you'll feel better about it, rather than just saying, oh, I want to build muscle. And then you just eat everything that's in the refrigerator and in the cupboards. Like that's not smart. And that's not going to help you. If anything, you're going to go backwards more than you go forwards with that type of approach. So once again, that's the benefit in having someone who's knowledgeable and can walk you through the steps, like your two clients where you're slowly walking their calories up, and it's smart to do it right now during the holiday season where they can enjoy. And then as you come out of the holiday season, depending on how long you've been on this this phase of increasing calories slowly, whatever, maybe you're just going to be coming out of it, or maybe you're going to continue on a bit longer and then slowly transition out of it and then begin to slowly diet, you know, and that way you can maintain hopefully the new lean gains that you gained, you know, during that phase, and be able to see most of it on your physique. And once you do it, like for me, once I lean down next year sometime, I'm hoping to see a totally different physique, you know,
because you built it, right? You built the
yeah,
foundation underneath. You've had some more muscle, etc.
yeah. And each time I go through this phase, provided I've done it right, I usually see a significantly different physique, you know, at each time. And it's pretty cool because you diet down and then you're like, wow, I really built my glutes. But you have to have faith in the process. You have to stay focused and be dedicated to the process, especially during a building phase, because underneath the fluff, you can't see what you're building. You just have to have faith that you are building it, you know? And then once you diet down, hopefully you'll see it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how do you help clients get through that scary bit? Because they get really scared. So what do you do?
Yeah.
How give people some tips on how they can get through that scary phase of, oh my God, am I going to put on weight?
Yeah. So I believe knowledge is power, right? So the more you know and you understand, the more empowered you become.
Yep.
So I just explain in very great detail, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what it looks like. This is what might happen. This is what you'll probably feel like. And this is kind of what you can expect. And then I'll use myself as an example and say, I'm not asking you to do something that I haven't done or that I'm not going to do or currently doing. You know, I have a few clients right now that we're all doing it together, and we happen to go to the same gym, and we just kind of laugh about, you know, some of the stuff that we've gotten to enjoy with our loved ones, and how much harder we're able to push in the gym as a result, and how through our progress pictures, you can't really see it, but you can kind of see, you know, where you're building up a bit more, and just how exciting and fun it is. So you just have to truly explain in great detail. And then I do one-on-one coaching calls with my clients, with most of them, or, you know, I just make sure I have some touch point, and I just talk them off the ledge, and I say, hey, what you're feeling, I validate their feelings. Totally normal. But remember, like, there's phases to this, and you can't expect to grow like this amazing or build this amazing physique in a calorie deficit. Like, you just can't. You can't. Yeah. So
awesome. All right, I'm gonna get controversial now.
Get controversial.
So it was funny. So I started to use TikTok. Oh my God, don't use TikTok. It's dangerous.
I don't have a TikTok yet.
Yet being the word, right?
Yeah.
Don't do it. You'll be addicted. Anyway, so this coach, she was talking about tracking calories, right? And she was attacked by these people who were kind of all anti-diet. You know, tracking calories is bad. It's going to give you an eating disorder, all that jazz. What are your thoughts on all of that? Because I've got some thoughts, but I wondered what your thoughts on the anti-diet movement out there.
So I think that there aren't any cookie cutter approaches. I think what works for some may not work for others. I have one client in particular that tracking macros and any sort of calories, it sends her into a downward spiral.
Mhm.
So we're taking a different approach for her because that doesn't work. I will say though, for 99% of my clients, it works really well. It's very effective. They actually feel like they're more in control and they feel better, especially those who are doing an increase. They actually feel better because they feel like they're in control and they know exactly what variables are in play, and how it's affecting their body. And they feel more confident in the fact that, hey, we're pushing a decent amount of calories right now, but that their bodies can handle it because their weight doesn't change drastically with this higher or this higher abundance of calories and food that they're taking in. So they feel better about it. I have done it all different ways. I was intuitively eating several months, for several months, and that was great for me and it worked well. I was able to get stage lean, intuitively eating and not counting anything. However, now that I am trying to build more lean muscle mass and I've increased my calories, for me, it's important to track because I want to put on the least amount of body fat possible during this time. So it is very beneficial for me and it helps keep me mindful and sane and it keeps me comfortable in the process of things. So I think it just depends on each individual person, how they handle that sort of thing. But for the most part, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think that it's a great tool, a powerful tool, an effective and efficient tool. And, and shame on anyone who shames people for taking control of their health through implementing that technique. I mean,
The irony of it, right? So
yeah,
they're shaming the people that want to get healthier and happy. Yeah, doesn't make sense.
yeah, but people just like drama nowadays, and people just seem to want to look for something that's controversial because they want to argue for the sake of arguing, and they can go fly a kite without any string. I have zero interest.
I love that. Fly a kite without any string.
Just let it sail away.
Brilliant. All right, so let's just switch gears. I want to talk about training a little bit. And
Wait, I want to hear, what are your thoughts about it?
you want to hear my
thoughts?
thoughts?
Yes.
So, for example, today I posted about kind of 10 things that people need to know about fat loss that are probably untruths or whatever. I talked about calories, and there are some people that have obviously had bad experiences with, eating 800 calories. It may have sent them into an eating disorder or some kind of obsessive behavior. But that's not calorie tracking's fault.
No, it's not.
That might have been the route that it took part, but ultimately when it comes to nutrition and your food, that's about relationship with self, which has been built up over years and years and years and years. So we can't blame a diet approach for that. I think that's about people understanding, okay, there's a factor, it might happen, but ultimately you need to start looking at yourself and maybe get help with that. But don't attack anybody who wants to track the nutrients in their body. Like, I can literally look on my fitness pal and see if I've had enough vitamin D for the day through food, which is pretty helpful, I think, for a lot of people. So that's my frustration with that kind of movement. And I think there was a study recently, because a lot of it is about this health at any size, methodology. And again, without tracking stuff, you can't measure that. But there are studies that show that someone who's potentially largely overweight isn't as metabolically healthy as someone who's leaner. So they can be healthy, but not as healthy as someone who's potentially leaner. That doesn't mean to say that being lean is always healthy, but there's science that says, hang on a minute, if we're carrying an excess amount of body fat, that's causing us problems somewhere. We just might not see it.
Right.
And I think we need to be very careful about that, because heart disease on the rise, cancer's on the rise, diabetes.
Diabetes. Yep.
Oh, but it's okay. You can be healthy at any size. No, 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 no. We need to
Yeah.
stop that.
Yeah. And typically it seems like the people who are arguing against it are the people that, not being mean, but you look at them and you go, well, you're not doing anything like that's more effective or whatever. Like clearly I can look at you and tell like that you're not doing much of anything. So to argue against doing something that can get someone to into a healthier state and that sort of thing, I just don't understand, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, you got to look at people's stories, I think, around that, but the evidence is too much. It's too compelling for us not to go, hang on a minute, there's an issue with some of this methodology. I understand. Let's not make people obsessed about their weight and stuff. I totally get that. But,
Totally. Yeah.
But there's ways and means to do it, but don't attack my fitness pal
for sure. For sure. Like I know for me, I'm only going to get so meticulous with counting calories and plugging stuff in. I don't weigh or measure anything anymore because I just eyeball it and I'm like, okay, I and I'm good with that. That works for me. And because I know if I did start weighing and measuring every little thing for myself, like that tends to make me become more obsessive compulsive over it. So because I know that about me, I just pull back and go, okay, well, that aspect of it doesn't work for me. But if I did do it and I became obsessive and compulsive over it, that's not my fitness pal's problem or fault. That's just a little tweak within Michelle and how Michelle processes stuff that I need to address and just be mindful of. But yeah.
And here's my thing. It's like, people won't weigh and measure food, but they'll make a cake and they'll weigh and measure the ingredients.
Everything. Yeah. 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 Like I have clients that I'm like, hey, you need to weigh and measure everything because your serving size of peanut butter is like half the jar. Whereas my serving size, I might be under what it really would be because I'm more mindful around it. And I've done it for so long until I can look at something and pretty much within a few grams be on target with what the serving size of it would be. So it's all in how long you've been doing it, your level of exposure to it. And, I mean, there's different, just like with building a physique, even in nutrition, there's different phases to it and implementing, your new learnings and all of that around it.
Definitely. Well, actually, let's switch to training on that point. So there's a saying that goes, do something that you love in terms of your exercise to lose weight, which is great. But if you want to build a certain type of body, there are certain things that need to happen. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
No, I totally agree. Cardio helps you drop the body fat, but weight training helps you sculpt your body. It's what gives you the shape. So if you want both, you don't have to do anything in this world but die, or in this life but die, but you should weight train, if you really truly want to sculpt your body. So yeah. So there are certain things you need to do. And in my opinion, lifting weights is one of them.
So, because there seems to be this thing that lifting weights is boring. I'll hear it all the time. Going into weights is boring. But is that because people are scared and don't understand it and never been coached through it? Or what is that?
Oh, that's hard for me to answer, honestly, because even like when I hear people say, oh, I hate the gym, I hate going to work out, I don't get that mentality because that's the best part of my day. I look forward to going and working on me and pouring back into me. And if I've been stressed or had anything going on, I take it out on the weights. That's how I decompress and, ground myself. So I really don't have a good answer for that, because I don't understand how you could say exercising or lifting weights is boring when it's super exciting, because with each rep, with each set, you're building a better you. Like, how could that be boring and not exciting? I mean, that's just like, that's to be celebrated,
You look like you don't know what to say. Like, this might be the first time I've made you speechless.
Yeah, 'cause I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, is there a couple of things, of the fact that people maybe haven't really experienced weight training in the way it should be done. So their impression of it is, oh, but it's boring. I don't want to do that. It's not fun, because for a lot of women, group exercise, they love it because it's social, that whole bonding thing. But to go into the gym by yourself, or maybe with a training partner, isn't so fun.
Yeah, but I think, like, when you're going through like a certain training set, right? Like, let's say you're working shoulders. I think it's so fun to go in and challenge yourself, and then to get the pump, and to start off maybe with 5 pounds, and now all of a sudden you're at 10 or 15 in a particular exercise and movement. Like, that's exciting to me. So yeah, maybe they're just not doing it right. And if you go in and you're lollygagging and you're just kind of like going like this, instead of really like, honing in and really like feeling it, and, then I guess it would be boring.
Yeah, I think maybe people haven't been taught to train. I know that sounds really weird, but it feels like people haven't been trained to train. Like,
yeah,
they don't know how to get intense with the workout. They don't know how to really zone in on the muscle. I don't know. Maybe that's.
Yeah, like sometimes, and this may sound goofy, but maybe you've done it. Like, sometimes after a particular set, within a given exercise, it's so challenging and so hard that, like, when I finally put the weight down, I actually kind of will laugh, like out loud. I'm just like, because I'm like, damn, that was hard. Or
Yep.
whoo, like I really kicked my own butt there. Like, you almost just sit back and just go, whoa, and kind of giggle and just be like, man, that's when it's fun, So yeah, maybe they just haven't been taught how to properly train and what it should feel like. And yeah.
Yeah, because I guess in the kind of a group training environment, it's really hard for someone, because the coach in that environment, they can give you stuff, but they can't, oh, look at that knee as you squat or as you lunge, and digging with your toe. You don't get that, but you don't have necessarily the same social aspect of
Yeah.
group class, as it were, that you get with getting in the gym and getting dirty.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah. But then I think of group fitness and I'm kind of like, I'm like, no, thank you.
It's funny, because I used to run a boot camp, and it was great from a social point of view, but from a point of progression and getting stronger and getting the results they wanted, oh my God, oh Lord.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, no. I
would just want to show up for the before and then the after. Like, I want to show up for when the class is getting ready to start. We're high-fiving and doing all that. And then I'd want to like leave the room and then come back, or to the park, and then come back. And then when everybody's done, be like, girl, that was good. High-fiving. What are you doing with the kids this weekend? And your plans. Yeah.
Did you see that thing on TV?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried this new product?
And it's funny, because like in the last maybe 2 years, when I go to the gym, I don't want to go with anybody else now.
No, I enjoy working out on my own. There are a few people that I will work out with,
Mhm.
here and there, because they truly like push me, and I enjoy that. But for the most part, I'm solo. I like to just go put my music in and just get dirty with it, get down and get down to business.
And do some Bulgarian split squats, yeah?
Oh, yeah, those things. Or some bicep curls.
Pardon? My Zoom just went funny. I don't think
There was
what
yeah. Yeah.
you know me and bicep work. I'm just like,
I
oh,
know you just like it with passion.
I do a little bit now, just because of you. When I finish my upper body day, I'm like, all right, let me get some triceps and biceps done. Let me just do a bit.
Yeah, and I'm doing those Bulgarian split squats
The
in your
look on
honor.
the look on your face is like those Bulgarian split squats.
Actually, I'm more motivated to do them now than I was when we last had this conversation, just because of my calorie increase. I can just feel the muscle just building up.
You can feel that glute and leg burn as you descend.
I
And
just feel it. I just feel it. Yeah.
love it, love it. So something you said to me on a message was, building your body isn't like overnight oats.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I love that.
I just thought about it because, with overnight oats, you put all the ingredients to that recipe. And then in the morning, you wake up and you have this wonderful, tasty, delightful masterpiece. And if building a body was like making overnight oats, I mean, geez, we'd only have to go work out once and then we'd have a beach body of our dreams.
Mm.
But unfortunately it doesn't work that way. Like you're making overnight oats slowly but surely, but you're tweaking the recipe to eventually hopefully get to a recipe that truly works for you and that is tasty and works for your body. But yeah, it just there's nothing quick about what we do. There just isn't.
Mm.
And it takes time. You've heard me, this is probably the third time I'm going to say it on this podcast. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes focus. It takes dedication. It takes discipline, consistency. Like it takes all those things. The only thing that it doesn't take is perfection. You don't have to be perfect in this process. You just have to show up and just do the work. Just stop complaining, stop looking for all the reasons why it's not working for you. Stop making excuses and just show up and do the work. Put your head down, close your mouth, and stop talking about why you can't, and start doing the work and showing why you can and you will.
Do you know, that's so poignant for me, because so recently I was, talking about, taking new clients on, and someone who's been messaging me on and off for about 2 years, she kind of said, yes, let's talk, let's not talk. And we booked in a call. But then before that call, she sent me a list of 8 reasons why she felt she couldn't get in shape. I was like, wow. Like, what has it taken for her to get to that level, to feel that way? Actually, about something she probably hasn't tried in the right way. That's the irony of it.
Right. And if you I would challenge her, and I hope she listens to this. I would challenge her, instead of pouring so much energy into why she can't, really start to focus on why she can, and then she will. Self-fulfilling prophecy. I was told so many times during my fitness journey that I had horrible genetics, that I would never do well in competing, that I didn't have, a good physique, and I didn't have the physique that it would take, the genetics that it would take to build a good physique. in my mind, I could have taken that and I could have started to have a lot of negative self-talk and be like, yeah, you'll never, because another human told you you wouldn't and you couldn't. But instead I took that and I let it light a fire under me. And instead of focusing on all the negative and why I couldn't, because he wasn't wrong. I don't have the best genetics, but what I do have is that I will do the work. I am a hard worker and I will show up, and eventually I will show out because I will do the work. So I have the dedication and the discipline. And so instead of focusing on why I can't, I choose to focus on how I can. And I mean,
I mean, like you say, I'd rather have someone knock on my door and say, Greg, will you help me? Who's in the worst shape ever with health problems, injuries. I'd rather have that person who says, okay, what can I do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I take on clients of all, I take on clients of all shapes, sizes, whatever. And even if I get someone who is like extremely obese and they're like, hey, one day I want to do a competition, I want to compete. I know some coaches would look at an individual like that and in their mind be like, who is he or she? Like, do they not have a mirror? I think that that's a horrible approach and the wrong approach, because I look at that person and I look at them and all I see is unleashed potential. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, because your body is like a piece of clay and you can just mold it into what you want it to be. You just have to be willing to do the work. And I'm like, the sky is it's limitless as to what you can achieve and what you can do. But it starts off with you first believing that you can. And then next, it's putting the wheels in motion to do the work that it takes. And then just showing up and being consistent and not expecting to be perfect in the process. And when you fall, which we all will, you just have to get up, dust yourself off, and keep going, keep moving forward, because there's no perfect journey. But anyone can do anything that they set their mind to doing. They just have to be willing to do the work.
Fall 7 times, get up 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. I mean, it's like this imaginary wagon that we create. We create this wagon, but like fitness, it's about how quickly you can recover. Just get back on it.
Yeah. And what I've also learned in my fitness journey is that it's a lot of it is here. It's mental. The brain is a very powerful tool, and we tell it what we can and can't do. And we tell it what we're willing to accept and not accept. And if you tell yourself, even if you don't believe it when you start out, because I didn't necessarily believe it, especially when I was told that I wasn't worthy of certain things. I didn't have the genetics, the physique, this and that, but even though I didn't believe it at first, I told myself all the positive things and what I knew I was capable of, or what I thought I could be capable of. I just started to tell myself that every day. And I told myself it so much until it was like a lie that you tell, and you repeat it so much until it almost becomes your truth. You start to believe it to where you turn around and you're like, wait, was that originally a lie, or was that the truth? Because now I don't know.
but now it's the truth, right? Because
now it's the truth, because I've morphed it into such. But yeah, you just have to, believe it, and then you can achieve it.
Love it. All right, there's one more thing, because look,
yes,
we've been talking. Look, the time we talk, it just goes like that. Right.
I know, it just flies. Wow.
Right. So just one very quick thing, and I think this would be useful for the listeners. You talked about measuring blood sugar, which is something I've started doing with some of my clients now who need that intervention. What why do you do it, and how can people start to understand what's going on with them?
Yeah, so I like to measure blood sugar and have some of my clients measure it, because it basically is a good tool to utilize to tell you how well you're processing carbohydrates, and also your calorie load. It may be too high. And so if you have a fasting blood glucose, meaning it's your it's your blood sugar that you reading that you take first thing in the morning upon waking up, before you have any food or drinks, you get that baseline reading, and it should be relatively low. Out here in the US, you really want to see it between 70 and like 90 at the very highest. You want to see it about that, because when it's there, you know that you're processing carbohydrates really well for the most part. When it starts creeping up into 95 and higher, especially if it gets at 100 or more, then you know that you're starting to not process the carbohydrates well. When you eat, and I'm gonna give a dumbed down version of it, but when you eat carbohydrates, they basically turn into sugar, glucose within your blood. And then our bodies are really smart. They take that sugar and they go and they funnel it and they push it into your muscles, and your muscles store it in the form of like glycogen. It's basically just energy for your next activity or whatever you're doing, whatever you need. So it stores it as stored energy. Well, when your muscles and your liver can only store so much of that glycogen, we'll just say like carbohydrates or sugar, it can only store so much of it. And once it kind of taps out, then it starts just kind of circulating in your blood. Well, if you do your blood sugar reading in the morning, fast it, or you do it postprandial, which means roughly 2 to 3 hours after a meal, and your number is high, then that tells you that those carbohydrates that you ate are not getting seeded into the muscle, and that you're becoming insulin resistant. And what you want to be is insulin sensitive, because when you're resistant, it's resisting the sugar from going into the muscle, and that's not a good thing. When you're sensitive, it's like, oh, it's sensitive to the sugar. It detects sugar, pulls it right in, stores it as energy. When you're resistant, it pushes it out, and it's like, no, we're good, we're full. And guess where it gets stored? It gets stored as adipose tissue, as fat. And so that's why you'll hear all this crazy jargon about, hey, you don't want to eat carbohydrates. You want to eat a keto diet because that's better, because it doesn't spike your insulin and your blood, your glucose doesn't spike the insulin, blah, 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 blah. And I could go on a tangent about that, because keto works, all diets work. It's all about being in a calorie deficit. You can lose weight in a carb-based diet. You just have to do it the right way. But anyways, so that's why it's important, because it's a good tool, and it helps you see what's going on within the body at any given time in regards to high calories, as well as, of course, high carbohydrates. And there was one more thing I was going to say about that. Oh, and I think it's especially important for someone who's in like an improvement season that's pushing calories up. That's where it's extremely useful, because typically when you're leaner, you're more insulin sensitive, less resistant.
Awesome sauce. I just went
Did
to
that
meet you.
answer it?
That was perfect. I was like, yeah, I'll just sit back and relax. Cool. So when people want to reach out to you, just remind people where they can find you and all that stuff. And I think we're going to be on is there such thing as a 5 peak? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm down whenever you want to have me. I'd love being your guest. This is always a joy and awesome opportunity for me. So you can reach me on Instagram. My handle, I believe, is Michelle Barnes NPC. I also have one for my business, which is Bold Body Prep. And then for Facebook, Michelle Barnes. And then I have Michelle Barnes Bikini
Yeah,
NPC, I think.
something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, I'll include the
something
links
like
so
that.
people can come and stalk.
Yeah. But if you're interested in working with me or want to do, I offer free consultations. You can always go to my website, just boldbodyprep.com, and you can get on my calendar and we can connect and chat. And, I always love doing that. So
Awesome source. Awesome. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll make sure that all your links are in this and also the previous episodes, because I think people get so much value in going back and listening to everything we've talked about before, bringing it to this one, and they're gonna
for sure.
find some magic.
Yeah, they can hear how we coined dieting whore.
Oh yes, diet whore.
A diet whore.
You just
Don't be a
reminded
diet
me.
whore.
You just reminded me. That's going in a post tomorrow. Thanks for reminding me. I'm gonna get it in, but I'll make sure I attribute it to you, because that was all yours.
Oh, it's so funny.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on again. Like, love talking to you. I love getting our little messages, and yeah, just keep smashing it. I see you doing awesome things with your clients, and I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you so much. Like I said, it's always a joy to, be on here with you and chat and connect. So thank you for having me.
Anytime, you know that.
Thanks.
Right. So if you're watching this or listening to this, hey, leave a review, share this with friends and family that can help or get help listening to us, and all the notes. And you can find Michelle in the notes section. Talk soon. See you soon. Bye.